Good morning. Welcome back. This is John. This is The Smoke. If this is your first time on the channel, just so you know, here we try to offer practical information, knowledge, tools and techniques for first responders as a target, but really for anybody who needs help living their best life. If you've been watching, then you know that I'm on somewhat of a personal journey and I'm discovering new things all the time, which are extremely beneficial to me. And because of that, I'm here to hopefully share these things with everyone. And it's always been take it or leave it. I understand some things are not for everyone, but these are the things that have worked for me. These are pieces of information, and then ultimately even some techniques, practical things you can do to help you in the moment. As a first responder myself, we have a lot of situation change. Danger is a big part of the job. Heightened situations, not always the best parts of life. So I find, at least for me, I don't want to speak for everyone, but as a first responder, I often benefit greatly from the things I've learned and some of the things that I'm sharing here on the channel. So today I wanted to talk about something that's pretty fundamental to my journey and my question or the questions I have, I should say, which is really like, how does this whole thing operate? Like, what is this? I know that's a huge question, but it's always there. It's always in the back of my mind. I haven't in the past, but lately I've put more time into actually kind of seeking that out. Like, what's really going on here? You know, what's the purpose of this? Why do we exist? What are we here for? Just those questions, you know, that almost everybody has. So, you have to excuse me. I'm sitting on my son's couch. It is bedroom. It's just such a comfortable couch. I'm like, let me sit here and make a video today. All right, anyway, getting back on track. So so I have these questions, you know, and if you've checked out any of the previous videos, just let me know if those things are helping you, or if there's anything you need help with that's not up there, or I haven't spoke about yet, or anything like that. I'd be happy to go and try and find the knowledge for you, and then ultimately learn myself as well. So we're all in this together. That's something I wholeheartedly believe. Anyway, so we'll get back to the episode topic. So today, really, and moving forward, I'll kind of integrate more on this topic because it's all over the place and it's amazing. Really, it really is. And some of the information I've found on it is pretty astounding. So if this is your type of thing, and creating your reality and living in the best kind of way is something you're interested in, then this episode should lead you, or at least start you down a good path on that. So let's get into it. So yesterday I was driving home from the firehouse. I had worked a shift on the medic, and the last call of the day was a pretty routine call, and we just went out to help some folks. And it stood out in my mind because as we were leaving, the lady that we had helped, she made it a point to look me in the eye and thank me, I want to say at least a dozen times. So at least a dozen times, me and my partner, where she would grab our hand and put our other hand on top of hers and thank you so much. Thank you so much. You have no idea how much this means to us. Thank you so much. Now for me and my partner, it was just kind of a run of the mill. It was like it's an everyday thing. It wasn't even ALS. It was just, you know, these people need a little bit of help. We helped them out, and they were eternally grateful, or at least that's how they expressed it to us. So that got me thinking because, you know, I hear thank you often. I say thank you often, but just the level of her gratitude was pretty amazing. It really kind of put me in like the heart space, and, you know, in like a love space. So I started getting into my feelings as I'm driving home. And then I'm thinking about something I want to start watching, so I'm looking or listening to as I'm driving, and I'm listening. I often listen to Rogan, so Joe Rogan podcast. Shout out to him because that guy's amazing. I like his whole ethic on life, and then his show is awesome too because it's just unedited, unfiltered, just trying to get to the truth. So shout out to Mr. Rogan. Thank you for that, sir. But I'm listening to him, and one of his recent guests is a physicist, and his name is Joseph Campbell. And if anybody's ever heard of Joseph Campbell, he has a pretty profound book and theory. And his book is called My Big Toe. It's kind of funny, right? It's like My Big Toe. Like, what does that have to do with anything? So, My Big Toe, toe being an acronym for Theory of Everything. So it goes from like this kind of what a theory of my toe to, this guy's talking about like everything, like the theory of everything. And yes, it is the theory of everything. And he's got it down to a science, over 40 years worth of research, studying, personal experience. So I'm going to try and give you the bullet points and just kind of like the overarching theme of what Mr. Campbell's theory really is, okay? And then why I'm sharing this with you and how this will help you and all this stuff. And then I also, before I forget to mention, sidebar, if you really, really, really want to get into modern day reality creation and how it all operates and how you can have and do and be whatever you want in this life, please check out A Changed Mind and Mr. David Baer. Get the book, A Changed Mind. It's a New York Times bestseller. It is an amazing book, and he's an amazing man. His story is amazing. I resonate with it greatly. He's a person who's come, from the lows of the lows, and now he is living the best life, and he's helping everyone around him, and he's a true example of what's possible. And on my journey of human potential, I really, really appreciate someone like Mr. David Barron and all the knowledge that he shares. So please check him out. I'll link his channel down below. So getting back to Mr. Campbell. So basically, Campbell goes on Rogan and he's telling him the theory of everything. And, in short, we live in a virtual reality, which is controlled by consciousness. And you're not a person per se, you're an avatar, and the real you is the consciousness that resides within this shell of a suit. And then he goes on to speak about how he's had what people would call out-of-body experiences, where he's having physical experience or otherworldly experience outside of his body, or it would seem such, right? Now, he speaks about this in great detail over the podcast with Mr. Rogan and also through his book, My Big Toe. So you can check this out. Ultimately, what it all comes down to is Mr. Campbell says that we live in a virtual reality system. And like any information system, its main goal is to work optimally. And by working optimally, the target is to lower its entropy. So as a system, as a collective, me being a person, you watching this being a person, all the people you know, everything that's conscious is making up that collective. And together, as individual units, so I'm me and you would be you, and my dog is my dog, and my wife is my wife, and my son is my son, and so forth, so on and so forth. Each individual unit should work to lower their entropy, to work optimally, so then that the system as a whole would work optimally. And what does that look like? I mean, that looks like utopia, and that looks like a golden age, and that looks like everybody is abundant, and everybody's in love, and everybody wants for naught, and everybody lends a helping hand. And that's really the goal of the system. Now, obviously, there's so much more to this. I hope I kind of did it justice in a very, very, very overarching kind of way. You can compare once you watch the episode or you read the book, My Big Toe. But moving right along from that, if you want, if that catches your eye and that catches your attention and it kind of resonates with you and you understand what he's speaking of and how it makes sense, because to me, through my journey, my experiences, my, specifically with meditation, yoga, breath work, I've touched some of the states of consciousness or other data streams that he speaks of myself. I've had that tangible experience. I haven't had it to the lengths he's had that he speaks about. I haven't had it to some of the great yoga master lengths where there will be just gone for 3 days on a OBE, out of body excursion, where they tell their disciples like, hey, just I'll be in the corner sitting, I'll be back in 3 days. I mean, that's wild. So how do you explain that? Well, I've done yoga. I've been doing yoga. I continue to do yoga. Yoga will be a part of my life moving forward until I'm gone. This is such a beneficial practice to me. And also through that, I've touched some of the states that he references in the podcast with Joe Rogan. So for me, it's easy to make this video because I have the tangible experience of what he talks about. And I know that what he talks about is true for me. That's not true for everybody, and I understand if you don't resonate with that and you're like, but John, I have to see it to believe it, right? Well, I'll give you a little something here that really kind of blew my mind, and I think I heard this from a spiritual teacher. I can't say which one exactly. It may have been the Sadhguru, but either way, the question is this. If I spent eternity using words trying to explain to you what chocolate tastes like, do you ever think that you'd understand what chocolate tastes like? Really? Or would you have to taste it? Aha. So in this example, the taste would be the experience. So there's many things, my experience alone, I can only speak for my experience, I should say, that you can only know through experience. And some things I know to be true, I've only learned through experience. I'm sure everybody knows this, and everybody can, conform to this, that this is true. I mean, through experience, we learn things. Right? Okay, so great. So you follow Mr. Campbell, you check him out on the podcast, you understand a little bit of his theory of everything and how it makes sense to absolutely everything, and you can ask it any question and it gives you the answer, and it's unbelievably, undeniably wild. Because in my estimation, it is the theory of everything. It is how everything works. Don't follow me, make up your own mind, but check the things out. So if you follow along with Campbell, then you move from Campbell to Bayer. And David Bayer will change your mind, and he'll give you practical ways and understanding on how this reality works in a modern day and what you can do to change it and control it and understand and have the best life that you want. I mean, and be as happy as you want, right? So going back to Mr. Campbell, just to wrap it up, at the end of the day, we lower our entropy. And what does that look like? That means raising the love. That means everybody has to come with love, lead with love. Individual units of consciousness. If we can all individually lead with love, then the collective leads with love, and we graduate to the golden age, and we get the best of the best of the best of the best that this experience has to offer. And there's no struggle, and there's no strife, and there's no hurt, and there's no crime, and there's no sacrifice, and there's none of the bad. Right? Now, how do I tie this all in? Great, John. That's a great story. How do you tie this all in to something practical or useful that I can do as a first responder or as mom or as dad, running a business? Well, I'm going to show you. I'm going to get to that. So if we want to raise our love, we have to live from our heart center. All right? This is the center of it all. Okay? This is really what it's all about. If we can lead with love, if we can help our neighbor, if we can treat the people next to us the same way that we'd like to be treated, then you will have the reality that you seek. You will gain everything that you desire. Okay? Because if you believe that you lead with love, love is the answer to the lowest entropy. So in the system, for it to work optimally, each unit has to lead with love. Now, how can we lead with love? I'll show you in the second part of this video. Hang out and I'll be right back. All right, here I am. This is the second piece of this video. I'm going to show you a practical technique that will put you in the heart space, okay? It will bring the energy that you are and concentrate it in the center of your chest, in your heart space. Because we're about practical tools, techniques, information, things we can do, use to make our life the best and our career exciting and not a struggle and not hard and just a better place to be for me, for you, for everybody, for our kids. All right, so here it is. Enough talking. You already know I'm a yogi. I love doing yoga. I'm going to make this a practical thing for you guys, okay? In yoga, we do this pose. It's called Bhujangasana. And what it means is it's a Cobra Pose. So Bhujang being cobra and then asana being pose. And what you're going to do is you're going to lay on your stomach and you're going to put your... Let me see if I can do this so you guys can see. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to lay flat on your stomach and you're going to take your... I'm going to give you two options because I understand not everybody's a yogi and not everybody... This is not designed to break your back. This is not designed to hurt you in any way, okay? You know your body best, so make sure that you do it in a way that's not hurting you, all right? But there are some fundamental technique to how you do this, okay? The first option is something we call Sphinx pose. And it's going to be a slight back bend, okay? And then when we back bend, we're just going to push and we're going to lead with our heart. And we'll close our eyes and we'll just we'll breathe deeply into the heart center. And as you do this, you'll notice that you have warm thoughts and warm feelings. And once you're done, I mean, all the energy will be in the heart. You just go about your day. You know, you just lead from the heart, okay? All you are is energy. All you are is love. Let me show you how to do this. All right, here we go. So you can start, you can put your head down. If you have a mat or something, you can use that as well. It's totally up to you. But for the first option here, we have the Sphinx pose. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our hands, both of our hands are here. I want you to put them about 6 inches away from your temple ear area here. So about 6 inches from your ears and side of your forehead. And when you spread your hands out, your fingers, I'm sorry, you only got 2 hands. Spread your fingers out. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to take an inhalation, and with our elbows on the floor, nice pressed inside, we're going to just come up like this. If you can't see, my arms are on the floor here. I'll bring them into the pose a little bit closer. So we have them here and they're flat. And from here, what you want to do is you want to close your eyes and you want to kind of, as much as you can, turn your eyes up and look up. Now, lead with the heart. Push the heart forward. Breathe deeply. Breathe into the heart. You can do this for a minute or two, or as long as comfortable for you, or until you can tangibly feel the energy in the heart center. This is a great practice for energizing the heart center and the chest area, as well as energizing overall, because we are doing the back bend, which is putting pressure on the adrenal glands, and it's going to release hormones like oxytocin and epinephrine and adrenaline, and you're just going to feel good after you do this, right? Okay, so this is the first variation. Second variation, let's start again. Same thing. Let's start in the same position. However, this time we're going to just leave our hands on the floor and we're going to try to lock out the elbows. So from here, we're going to inhale up. Now from here, it's important that your pelvis, I'm sure you can see, your pelvis stays on the floor. Arms are straight, okay? And then you want to keep your shoulders down away from your ears. And now we're going to look up and we're going to do the same thing that we could have done in Sphinx pose. Deep breaths and just focus in the heart center. 1 minute, 2 minutes, however long is comfortable, or until you can feel, palpably feel the energy in the heart center. Remember, shoulders down, lead with the heart, push the heart forward. Again, that's called Bhujangasana, and that is Cobra Pose, or just a half back bend. You have the two variations. All right. Now, when you do this kind of focused exercise, where your energy or where your mind or attention go, that's where your energy flows. So it's important that when you're holding the position, you just concentrate and focus on the center of the chest. And I promise you, you will feel it, and you'll be leading with the heart. And then the whole idea is to stay there, maintain it. You know, use the exercises we've shared on the channel up until this point. If you have any questions or anything else I can help you with that I haven't mentioned thus far, please let me know. I'm always happy to help. And then ultimately, this, just to finish, this is really a great exercise for a really heavy call, like for our first responders, you know? So if we have a heavy call, if you're a fireman, if you're a nurse, EMS worker, police officer, even if you're mom and you're like feeling like you're not showing a lot of love to the kids and maybe something's got you ratcheted up today and you want to get back to it. It's good for anybody, okay? I got to finish with one thing that's pretty vital, okay? Now, because we're doing these back bends, we kind of want to neutralize the spine because we don't want to hurt ourselves, right? So whatever form of Sphinx or Bhujangasana, of Sphinx pose or Cobra pose that you did, you're going to have an arch in the back, so we're compressing the vertebrae with that, right? So what we want to do now is we just want to even it out and stretch them out again, so this way we're not going to hurt the low back in any way, okay? So from here, all you got to do is go ahead and put your hands back down. Come on, come back onto the heels, pushing back. You can bring your knees up, spread your knees wide, toes touching, and then from here, you just sit back on the heels and then push your hands out as far as you can and put your forehead on the floor. Just breathe deep. You'll feel a really deep stretch in the low back. That's what we want. And then when you're ready, you can come up and yeah, you'll be leading with the heart, in the heart space. All right, guys, this is one of the longer videos I've made, but either way, I hope it benefits you. Don't forget, please check out Thomas Campbell on Joe Rogan's podcast, okay? Check out Joe Rogan's podcast. He has so many amazing guests all the time. I learn something every time I watch him and his guests. Please check out David Bear. Check out his book, A Changed Mind. Amazing book, amazing guy, amazing story. All right? And don't forget, lead from the heart, all right? This is a system. We live in a virtual reality. Lower your entropy. Make it optimal. The more love that you can put out, the best life you're going to live. That's just how the system's designed. Okay? We have Mr. Campbell and all the great yogis to thank for that. Do your own research. Don't take my word for it. I'm just a way shower. I hope this helps for you guys. Till I have something for you next time. My name's John. This is The Smoke. If you want to subscribe, it's up to you. Thanks, guys. Have a good day. See you next time.